Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. We are live from the Toronto Sport Card Expo.
That's right.
I don't want anybody to ever mess that up. It is the Sport Card Expo.
It's not the Sports Card Expo?
Oof, you are gonna.
Sports Cards Expos.
You guys are going to upset a lot of people if they hear this.
If you're upset, raise your
Toronto's.
hand.
Toronto.
No one raised their hand, so we're good.
You're right.
Yeah,
so.
there's like 1,000 people out here.
Oh, it's a raucous crowd out here.
Massive.
Everybody's buzzing. Standing room only. So thanks to everybody here, and thanks to everybody at home watching live on Twitch. Yep, this is live on Twitch. A special Saturday edition of the Chase.
A special Saturday edition of The Chase. Just want to say good morning to some of our chatters in
yeah.
The Chase.
Please do.
And if you are in the crowd and you hear this, we're at twitch.tv/DA Card World. Good morning, everybody. Cards running rampant. Lance, Chris Smith, Yagabomb. Yagabomb. Ron.
Pour one out
G-Train.
because he couldn't be here with us.
Got
Pour
some
one out.
FOMO.
He's too busy. Who's this right here? I mean, we know who she is.
Yeah,
This is
I know.
Rander.
Yeah, who's
Ray
this?
Ray somehow always seems to get in the mix on our content one way or another.
That's what
but
she
this
does.
this guy, we don't have to drag him. We just have to ask him nicely, and he usually comes on
Say
with
a
us.
few times.
It's not like pulling teeth with
Hey,
Tom, but he's been on a few times here, and that is Tyler Bielik of Hit Parade.
Hello.
And you know, it's so Elena
Crowd
doesn't mess
goes
it up, or
wild.
I don't mess it up. More specifically, what are you of Hit Parade?
Yeah, what's the answer to this
I
question?
think the actual answer is the director of product development.
He thinks.
Oh, I gave.
That's a pretty fancy title.
I said management, but
Because you know what? When people ask me what I do, I still just
what do
say I
you
talk
say?
in front of the camera about cards. That's basically it.
I basically just buy cardboard pictures of men.
Hell yeah. Isn't that the dream?
Wow.
Isn't that what everybody wants to do?
What
That's
a
the best
job.
part.
and
What
I
a-
think some
what a
people
life.
don't know Ray's title. Ray, what's your title?
I'm just social, baby.
Just social. baby. She's
head
just
schmuck
social.
in charge. Head schmuck in charge.
So, what do we want to talk about?
So, what do you want to talk
Troy?
about? You want to start it off? You look like the wheels are turning right now. You got some
I
questions for
actually
Tyler.
have a question for Tyler.
Okay.
Like, not gonna lie.
Okay. All right. Go on.
So, I've known Tyler for a little bit now. You know, smoking around a Hit Parade. I know this is like your favorite shows. Like you're a kid in a candy shop when you're here. Like through the years of being at the Sport Card Expo.
Nice.
Nice job.
There's always a different player that everyone's like kind of trying to buy. This year, what is it? What do you see the most of? And what are you trying to get the most of, I guess?
It's it's a tough answer, honestly, because a lot of the hockey products are weird with release dates, and obviously I know you guys all know like products getting pushed back and things like that. But like the buzz around the whole place is Connor Bedard, obviously.
Yep.
Yeah.
But not only that, like you got a lot of guys that have come out in the last year or so that are just the young kids are taking over the league. So I mean, obviously being in Canada, you hear a lot of the Canadian teams. Cole Caulfield, everyone talks about. But
Stud.
one guy that I really, really like, I love Mason McTavish. I think he is one of the guys that everybody should be chasing. Obviously, still is, but I think everyone thought on the Ducks team that Zegras was going to be the guy, and McTavish has had an unbelievable start, and I really like him. But
That wrenched my heart a little bit because I have a PSA 9 Young Guns of Zegras.
nine?
But
What do you? a
not that
nine?
he's-
nines are fine.
Nine?
What did I
It's
tell
not
you?
fine.
I told you.
Nine? It's just
Doesn't always have to be a 10.
garbage.
nines are fine.
Are nines
Thank you,
fine
Tyler.
according to Hit
Thank you,
Parade?
Tyler.
They are fine, but they're just fine.
Yes. Thank you.
That's
Thank
okay. You know what? I said nines are fine. That's the stamp of validation that I needed. Now, I want to ask you something. You've had a long run at the National, obviously various cities you've been to, Atlantic City, Chicago. But I always called this like the National of the Great White North. It is. It is really.
Absolutely.
So I got to say, you know, being at the National, but then coming here, how have you kind of seen this show transform for as many trips you've had up to this show?
So what was my first national? I think my first national was 2017, and
You and me in Atlantic City, baby.
yeah, Atlantic City. It's great.
Took it over.
AC.
And like Ray says, like kid in a candy shop here. Like that was when my first real experience of like a crazy show. So seeing that was just, I mean, to go right into the national, you kind of changes your expectations for everything. But this is the closest thing that you get to a national. And obviously in Canada, this is an unbelievable show. But seeing this develop, I mean, all the people that run the show here, this show is one of the most well-run shows by a mile. I really, really, really love it. In that sense, everything's super organized, well-maintained. But in general, I just am a huge hockey guy. Growing up playing it my whole entire life, it's always my first passion. So going to the National, you never see hockey. It's like probably 5% of the cards are hockey. And then you come here, and it's the exact opposite. It's probably 90% hockey here. So always love it here, but to see it grow, I mean, the amount of people that are here for signings, the amount of people that are here just to wheel and deal, but not only that, just to walk around and be around sports cards, it's awesome. And it has just grown every year and gotten crazier and crazier. The building keeps growing. I mean, more and more people keep
3 halls.
Unbelievable.
Crazy.
So the National obviously is huge, and there's tons of people there, but it just doesn't, it's not necessarily the same vibe here, or at the National that it is here. Just love this show.
They're a lot nicer here.
That is true.
Right here.
So I would say the last year or so, we've seen a lot on social. Some athletes opening Hit Parade, Josh Allen, Nico, Jamal Williams,
Shout out
a lot
Heisher.
of those draft picks, athlete after athlete. How does it feel, because you're kind of like the card guy, how does it feel like really seeing your product, your stuff, those guys knowing what Hit Parade is? Because I know you were here when Hit Parade was nothing, and now you see it in the hands of Josh Allen and people like that. Like, what's that feel like?
It's honestly like surreal, like, because I don't get to experience it a lot, like, but like when you see it and you're just scrolling on Instagram or something, and somebody like reposted it, and it's like somebody that you've never even met before or something like that, and they're posting videos of legitimate celebrities opening cards that I probably bought at some point, or something along those lines, or I know the whole team that's sitting there putting them in the boxes and packaging them up, and it's definitely surreal. But it goes to show, basically, our whole team, can't say enough about them. Everybody from top to bottom is great, and we wouldn't be here without them, and that wouldn't be a thing without all of them. So I love it. It's, like I said, it's definitely surreal, and it's cool to even hear people that have no idea about sports cards that I've known for my entire life go, hey, I saw that video that you guys did with Josh Allen. Like, that was really cool. So just like that, it's more brand recognition, and obviously that's all we're looking for, is more people to know who we are and what we do, and hopefully keep getting everyone collecting and keep it rolling.
Yeah.
I feel like when I scroll through TikTok and I get those lives of breakers, I just constantly am seeing Hit Parade products in breakers' hands. Like, how are you guys doing that, getting your products in so many different hands of so many different breakers?
I will say it is a lot of nights in a hotel room. It's a lot of traveling. Like I said, going back to the team, I mean, we got a team of probably 6 or 7, even probably 8 buyers that just travel constantly. And they're just acquiring as much inventory as possible. And obviously all the dealers that we deal with, we really have gotten to, over the years, establish a lot of good relationships to where we can just kind of keep it rolling. And but again, testament to our production team and everything like that, to just, whenever we need something done, they'll drop everything and get it done when we need it. So. And
I know you've been with Hit Parade pretty much since the beginning, right?
Yeah.
Like, you kind of
This is a baby.
Yeah, this is your baby. Like,
birth.
how surreal is that for you to see something start essentially so small, and now it's this massive entity in a space so big like this?
Yeah, I mean, when we first started, it was my partner Tom, and then we had one production guy, Tony, who we all love, Tony Garcia.
Shout out
And-
Tony G.
DA Fresh.
Tony G.
Shout out DA Fresh.
Shout out Chris Carlin, too, in the back.
Keep it rolling.
So, but yeah, just starting out with us 3, it was, I mean, we just had Tom and myself only had our own desks, and Tony had a little area for production. And I mean, we're to the point now where we had our own warehouse. We now have moved into an even bigger warehouse, and we got 20-something guys on the card team. We have another 10 people on the card team, or on the memorabilia team, another few people for entertainment and comic books. It's
unreal.
It's cool to see the growth. I mean, again, it's you don't, like, people always talk, when you grow, you don't see it on a day-to-day basis. But when you step back and say, man, where were we 2 years ago, or 3 years, or 5 years ago?
Right.
It's crazy to see how quick it's grown. So.
And Elena, I know you're monitoring the chat. So chatters on Twitch, if you're watching live, if you have any questions for Tyler, feel free to drop them in the chat. I'm sure Elena will see it.
Twitch.tv/DA Card World.
They're
For all you
watching
out
on
there.
Twitch.
For all you out there.
I love it. No free ads, cheap plug, real quick. I love it. Somebody had to do it.
Yeah.
Somebody had to do it.
So go ahead.
No, you know what? You're never on the show. Go ahead. What do you got?
All right.
I feel like we gotta.
I talk too much.
I feel like we
got
gotta ask
do
Ray
you got?
some questions.
No. I got to ask you. Don't ask me questions because then that's when things go off the rails. No, let's get it off the
True.
rails. All these
Nothing-
people
no,
wanna-
nothing
we are not
ever goes
bringing
off
up
Too
the
early.
rails again.
Too early.
Shout out Yager.
Shout out Yarger, no rails.
So, I recently saw you guys started this HP mixer it out with baseball, where because you would watch breaks on TikTok or Twitch or YouTube, wherever it's at, and people would throw in Hit Parade with their mixer. You guys kind of came out with something where you're building the mixer for them, where you're putting in a card, you're putting in a sealed hobby box. Where do you think that could go? Could you do other sports? 'Cause I see right now it's baseball. Like, I just think that's a really cool idea, and I think people should know about that.
Yeah, absolutely. Again, it's tough with the world that we live in right now, and the price of sealed unopened wax is kind of astronomical to
Yeah.
what it was 5 years ago. But overall, that was kind of the idea. Like you said, Hit Parade across the board, any breaker you see, in my personal opinion, the best use of it in a break is to just throw it in as like a guaranteed hit somewhere.
Yeah.
Because you open unopened wax, and it's like you're guaranteed your one auto, one mem per box or something like
Get
that.
rinsed.
But you get
Rinsed.
I mean,
Can confirm. You do get rinsed.
but at the same time, you can kind of mitigate that risk by throwing in one Hit Parade box or something like that. So bringing that idea, it was definitely I'm definitely got to shout out Tom for that one. But
Yeah.
it's been his baby since the beginning. He's been pushing for it for a while. Yeah, I mean, the baseball definitely has done pretty well so far, and I really, really want to expand it. But currently, the product that we are doing, it's a 50 case series, where we basically one baseball hobby box per box, but you also get a guaranteed autograph card, a guaranteed graded card, and then 2 additional cards.
Yeah, that's insane.
Great. It could be autographed, could be graded, but you're going to get 4 Hit Parade cards on top of a sealed wax box. So
And
kind of gives you the
that's
both.
sick because there's some sealed in there that are, there's Sterling, there's I think there's
Dynasty.
Pristine in there.
Yep.
We talking about
Like-
baseball?
Yeah.
Yeah, that-
So
and
there's
Yeah,
some-
Sterling,
So
pristine.
So just
Yep.
boxes in there that
Tier
you could
1
be
maybe. I don't know.
paying
I don't know if tier 1's
Yep.
part of it.
I think
obviously
so,
less
yeah.
than that. And
Yeah.
I'm really interested to see if that expands to football because like maybe you throw in a little 2017.
I think Ray's hinting something.
Hey, I am all for it. The biggest thing about it is I don't want to come out with a product, like my number one concern the whole time is trying to make it something affordable that a
Right.
breaker could buy and actually break it down and sell it as spots and make it affordable for the end consumer to purchase.
Yeah.
Again, with the price of wax of football and basketball, that price just goes up so much more. So
Yeah.
a little bit cheaper on the overall unopened side, similar to hockey. That's why I think our next one will probably be into hockey.
Throw in a cup.
That's the plan.
Please and thank you.
Yeah.
Please and thank you.
Fire.
So I
Fire.
think that's definitely going to be the next step that we go. But like I said, going back to the football and basketball, as soon as we can get it to the point where I can make it at a price that I want to sell it at, we can definitely. That's the direction. So
That's sick. Love the idea. Shout out Tom.
No, you.
Thank you, Troy.
I wait patiently.
wanted to ask- okay.
I'm doing more stuff later in the day, so you.
he's
Be as
saving his
patient as
voice.
possible.
So, as someone, for you're at arguably a ton of shows a year. And there's been a lot of talk within the hobby community saying, the sports card market's crashing, things are going so bad, the prices are going down, like it's not the same, you can't sell things the same. What do you feel and what do you say to that? Like, do you feel as though the sports card market is crashing, or do you feel like it's kind of plateauing from that crazy
Yeah, we in
COVID?
just a lull and then something can go. It's
Right.
Yeah, I crashing. I think is a very harsh word.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think
much.
like if you would look at some of the big cards across sports, like Jordan rookies and stuff like that, and you look at like what a Jordan rookie used to sell for in 2018, pre-COVID, before the crazy surge, and then you look at what they sell for now, it's still double, triple what it was
Right.
in 2018.
Yeah.
So prices
Yeah.
are still crazy high from what they were 5 years ago. It's just not 2020 pricing. So like as long as again it's definitely not a crash. I think it's just more of you're finding it's figuring itself out, it's leveling off. But during 2020 and that crazy surge, you could really just close your eyes and buy a card and just wait a month or so, and you're going to make some money off it because everything was going up.
Yeah.
So now you can't be stupid about your buying. You got to be smart. Pick the guys that you think you have a good chance of going up in value and stick to it. Don't take chances on guys that you're like, man, this is a real dart throw.
Right.
Really no clue. And I mean, you can take that, but you need to kind of hedge your bets a little bit and go for some other guys. So,
Good advice.
So that's just my opinion. But overall, I mean, there's so many people in this game, dealer-wise, that have been in it forever, and they went through the times in the early 2000s or the late or early 2010s where it was a lull. I mean, there wasn't a ton going on in sports cards at that time. Then you start getting some big rookies and stuff like that. And then the COVID surge went crazy, and they've rode the whole wave, and they're still here. So it's really, in my personal opinion, it's about turn, faster, just in and out, just try to stay as liquid as possible. And you can make money as a dealer doing it. But if you're in it for collecting, this is like a really good time to be in it for collecting because I think prices are now more manageable.
Yeah, absolutely.
So I think there's no way it could have kept up in that 2020 market.
No. And shout out Steve Two Bros. I was talking to him a couple days ago about how he collects just for himself. Like, even if it's a player that's like not big name or it's just like a random old Rams player, like just buying it for yourself, like, you know, encouraging that and reminding people it's not always about flipping it for money. Like, buy what you like to buy, and you know, there's a side of you that might want to like flip some stuff, but don't forget that like where this all started was really just collecting for yourself. Like, there's no shame in buying a $9 card of some random auto of a guy no one knows. Like, it's cool.
I mean, hell, after I was clocked out, whoever from work is watching this.
Completely
After
clocked out.
I was off the clock.
Check this timesheet.
Check the timesheet. I was walking around. I bought a couple things. I bought like a Daniel Elfordson auto for $15 for fun.
How dare you buy Daniel
Well.
Elfordson auto? I know you're about the same age as me, and Daniel Elfordson was an enemy of the Steelers.
I know. Did he ruin our childhood a little bit in
Ruined our
Buffalo?
childhood.
I don't know.
Sure.
Maybe. Maybe.
Great player, but I can't really admit that openly in public.
Well, we got shout out to Sam77 in the chat saying watching.
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
Moving on.
Is he checking the time
Definitely
cards?
not my boss. That's definitely not my boss.
Checking the time
watching.
I don't know who that is.
We don't know who that is.
So, Tyler, I was going to ask you too on the collecting side of things, in terms of players. So obviously we're in the mecca of hockey cards, and I love talking hockey cards. So for me, you mentioned McTavish, but is there anybody else besides the obvious guys that you're kind of keeping your eye on to maybe you think have a pretty big ceiling that you think could be pretty solid within the next 2 to 3 years, we'll say?
Yeah, I mean, again, like I said, the young kids are taking over this league.
Absolutely.
So in my personal opinion, there's a ton of players to go after. One thing I will say is I think like this whole year obviously is going to be headlined by Connor Bedard. And rightfully so. I mean, he's as advertised, is like, I guess the best way to put it. But don't sleep on all the other rookies this year. I really, really like Leo Carlson, Fantilli. I absolutely love Logan Cooley. I think he's going to be an elite player in this league. So I like Logan Cooley. But I grew up and I played goalie my entire life. So there's two guys that I really love as young goalies in the league. Obviously, a little hometown bias, but I love Devin Levi, so I definitely think he's going to be a guy that I'm sure people will be collecting. But one of my favorite players in the league right now, and at a goalie position, I love Jake Ottinger. Absolutely, I think the Dallas Stars are a very deep team. I think that team is poised to make some noise, and I really
Poised to make some noise. I like that.
just rolled right off the tongue, right?
Yeah, that's good.
So I really like Jake Ottinger, and I love buying his cards. I love the colors. The patches are unbelievable. But I really think Ottinger is a guy that I personally would say is a good buy.
So to piggyback off that, I want to know about, obviously, without giving away all your secrets, because we know a magician doesn't give away all of his secrets, but some strategy from you in terms of, you know, how you buy and maybe some challenges that you face that people don't realize, because we obviously know that we're still getting 22, 23 product. new when we are now into the 23-24 season.
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely interesting with hockey because no other sport is like that, obviously. So
Right.
it's definitely different in that sense. Whereas, like, there's new product coming out of rookies that have played 140 games in the NHL already.
Yeah.
Like, they've literally played multiple seasons. We know what their kind of trajectory looks like. And you're getting, like I said, brand new product of it. So, and then even mixing it. So you're getting 22 product or 23 product coming out. So am I going to go buy Upper Deck Series 1 and chase some Bedard and stuff like that? Or am I going to go buy last year's product and go after last year's rookie? So it's definitely interesting. But on the buying side for me, it makes it fun. Whereas I buy a lot of football, basketball, baseball in the States. And when you talk about buying football, basketball, baseball, it's always the rookies of that year.
Sure.
Like last year, the amount of Chris Olave, Christian Watson, Drake London, Desmond Ritter that I have bought in my life, Garrett Wilson that I have bought in my life, Breece Hall is absurd. It's ridiculous.
Yeah.
So, but comparing it to that, I almost get like 2 to maybe even 3 rookie classes that I can buy at a specific time.
Right.
So it gives me a little bit more variety. So I do like that about hockey. But it's definitely tough here. There's definitely some people that they sticker their cards and they kind of know what they want for them and don't really care what the going rate is for a card. And that's totally acceptable. I mean, they're your cards for a reason.
Of course.
If you don't want to sell your cards and you love your cards and you just want to wait until someone just says, you know what, I'll pay for it.
Yeah, I mean,
That's
I would.
great.
It's like good luck trying to pry an Austin Matthews from anybody's hands in this room.
Yeah, exactly.
Right now.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
You know the struggles. You know the struggles.
We do. So where do you see the trajectory of Hit Parade going in the next year? If you could envision what you want this next year to look like, what would that be?
So it's kind of tough again right now. We're in that kind of time right now. Obviously, the looming fanatics kind of coming into across all the sports and things like that. Product is becoming more readily available. So we've kind of, I guess, etched our way into or squeezed our way into a good market share where a lot of people know who we are. We're in with a lot of breakers and stuff like that. But as more product becomes more readily available, it's tougher to kind of compete with that, obviously, because at the end of the day, the cars that we buy and we put in product come from those original products. So we need both. I like to say there's enough room in the hobby for everybody.
Yep.
Absolutely.
So we do need that. But going back to your question, I think I really just want to continue to get the brand recognition out there. If everyone in this building knew what Hit Parade was, obviously that's the end goal.
Right.
We want to be synonymous with the manufacturers, so people do know. But the only big way to do that is obviously brand recognition. Just keep pushing it. Obviously, Ray's been doing a great job getting us some cool social stuff with all
She's
the
all right.
athletes.
She's all right.
So
She does her job for sure.
Yeah,
she definitely
no
does.
doubt.
So, but that's really what I want. I really just want to focus on maximizing how many people know what Hit Parade is.
Yeah. Good goal.
Good goal. Also, I hear it's the 8th anniversary coming up soon.
It is, yes.
Round of applause.
Congrats, Hit Parade.
Yep.
Congrats.
Happy birthday,
There's rumblings.
There's
There's
8
rumblings
years?
that 8th anniversary
We
is
got a
going to be
question from the
insane.
chat.
We got a chat question.
What's the chat question?
JKZ question. What kind of
I love that you
research-
said Zed, by the way, because that is Z in Canada. Just in case you were wondering.
Listen.
I did my
don't
research
pretend-
before I
don't
came
pretend
up
to know
here. That's
everything.
all I'm saying.
Question. What kind of research and input do you go into making decisions on what type of HP products to put together and release? What does that research look like for you?
So it took a few years for us to really kind of figure out exactly the direction and kind of price points and things like that we wanted to go into. And obviously talking about our 8th anniversary, when we first really started this, we only had a couple product lines.
Right.
So we did we call it our limited and our platinum. versions, which were our lower end products, that's all we did across the 4 sports: football, basketball, baseball, and hockey. And we only did autograph cards. So that's kind of where we started. So obviously, as the slab era kind of took over during COVID, we were like, all right, well, we have to start buying graded rookies and stuff like that. So we started making more products and expanding the lines. But now we're to the point where I think we've really kind of honed in on what our core lines are. And now we really just constantly buy for those core lines. But as far as like new products, it's kind of some of my favorite things. Like walking around this show, I love trying to see like different sets and things like that I can make and go, man, could I take a 1979 O-Pee-Chee hockey set, Gretzky rookie year? Can I take that, buy that, and break it down into a Hit Parade product as a chase for a cheap option for someone to potentially get a Gretzky rookie?
Right.
So I can kind of maneuver that and see if I can make something like that happen. So it's more kind of talking to dealers, seeing what's hot around the floor, talking to customers as well. We get a lot of customer feedback at shows. So that's kind of something that we definitely try to take into consideration. But again, like I said, try to stay current, try to be fresh, not try to hammer the same idea too many times. So that's pretty much about it. But.
Try to be case fresh.
Case fresh.
You know what I'm
DA
saying?
fresh.
So here at DA, we try to educate people as best that we can. So I guess there's probably people watching and probably people here that don't know what Hit Parade is. We're just sitting here blabbing about Hit Parade.
It's funny you said that because
Just
I'm thinking we
chatting.
buried the lead
We're
and
just
we haven't
talking
told
about
what a Hit Parade is.
left and right.
Yeah, who is
So
Hit Parade?
The best way to explain what Hit Parade is, how the lines work, how, the aspect of, I don't want to say gambling, but the aspect of chasing.
Yeah.
I
There you
guess try
go.
to explain what Hit Parade is to someone who has no idea, they've never heard of
The
it.
elevator pitch.
Yeah.
Yeah, let's hear
So
it.
I would say Hit Parade, currently I would say Hit Parade is America's leading repack company. So basically, to sum it up, our whole team, we travel around all in North America. Obviously, I get to say that because now we're come to Toronto all the time, not just the U.S. But we travel around and we acquire inventory as far anything from sports cards, comic books, Funkos, graded action figures, memorabilia, all that kind of stuff. And we basically will take it, or we buy the inventory, we take it back to our warehouse, and we assemble what we call our own product run. Typically out of anywhere from 50 boxes, normally 100 boxes. Sometimes we do a little bit more, maybe in the 200 or so. But for the most part, we try to keep the run smaller so you have a little bit more realistic chances of hitting the top hits. But basically, we do one item per box. So there's never any base cards. There's never any kind of the junk that everyone, I don't want to say junk, but the stuff that everyone,
Easy,
all the
easy
breakers.
now.
just
You don't want to hurt
It's
anybody's
either
feelings.
autographed or slab.
Correct.
Unless
So-
it's a one-of-one product.
Correct. Yep. Yeah. So we have kind of themes for every product. So
Yep.
we try to do. We have a full line of our products, starting with our light product, which is about $60 US, all the way to our VIP, which is close to about $1,000 US. We have several different price points in between, where we try to do one autograph card per box, and then we have alternatively a graded side of that, where it's one graded card per box. And buying for that's awesome because we get to really find like cool stuff for anywhere from a $50 autograph all the way to thousands and thousands of dollars.
Yeah.
And obviously going into memorabilia and comic books, you can really get a really cool idea. So for any collector, if they're, like you said, a little bit risk averse, where they want to take a shot, and you could spend $100 on a box and get a $1,000 card.
Yep.
Right.
So, and obviously as it goes, it is risky, similar to how it is open and any unopened.
Yeah.
You can open, or you can spend $100 on a box and get a $50 card.
Yep.
But we again, that's the beauty of us buying, is we try to stay current to where that $50 card might be, like we were talking about Cole Perfetti today. Like
Yeah.
Cole Perfetti, you can buy him for about that price.
Yep.
But Cole Perfetti his trajectory is showing that he could be a good player.
Yeah.
So the better he gets, maybe that 50 card turns into a $100 card.
Yeah.
So,
And I try to explain that to people is like, you could buy a hobby box. Like Hit Parade kind of just skips the BS, right? Like
Right.
you
Yeah.
could buy a hobby box for $400.
Base.
Million base cards, chuck them or keep them. chuck them, and you got
Or
that one
donate
card.
them.
You got that one card that's your auto. That's like a pretty good guy. That is the lowest you're gonna get at hit parade. Like you're
Correct.
literally just skipping the BS.
Yep.
You're going right to the hit. So, or it could be a case hit, which is
Yeah.
massive. So,
Yep.
if someone were to buy a VIP run, like what are they looking at for the run hit? Like what's the gamble there?
It really depends. Again, I will say shout out Tom for this one, but we really try to kind of
out, Tom.
reinvent our VIP products in the last probably 6 months, where we started making a more themed base.
Yeah.
So instead of just a blank product, like if this is just the price point, we started doing themes where we do like a quarterback only for football. It'll only be quarterbacks.
Yeah,
and
that's
stuff
cool.
like that. So that's allowed us to be a little bit more selective in our buying.
Yeah.
But I mean, we've used for VIP. We've used anything from like Patrick Mahomes 101 autos, Tom Brady and National Treasures autos,
Insane.
and stuff like that.
Insane.
And then even in hockey, like I've used let's see, like Draisaitl Cup rookie autos,
Nice.
stuff like that. Connor McDavid Young Gun 10s,
Yep.
things like that. So you get some really cool stuff. I wish I still had it, but we had a Jack Hughes Shield 101 that was so cool. Wasn't rookie, but I thought it was an amazing card.
Yeah.
Matt went into one of those, and I obviously guy's like the hottest player in the league right now. So I wish we still had it, but
I know, right? It's
but
probably way more
I'm
now.
glad that one of our customers got
Yeah, one of
got
the
ended up
customers
with
just
that.
made
so.
more, even
awesome.
more on
Yep.
what it was. So that's
It's
cool.
awesome.
Yeah, I'll never forget this. And I'm sure Tom will remember this too. But Tom bought a Luka Doncic sneaker spotlight rookie auto from
Ooh.
Noir.
Oh my God.
Noir.
One of the like coolest cards that I've seen in a while. And he came back and he told me what he paid for it. And this was the time I want to say he paid like $600 or $700 for it. And I'm like, you did what? Like that's you
That's
can't
way
be
too much
buying.
money.
I'm like, you can't be buying that.
Too much.
So we ended up holding on to it for a while because we didn't really have an outlet for it at the time. This is really early on. And so it obviously this was Luka's rookie year. And again, if anybody that was around in 2018, I remember buying Luka rookie autos for like $80 US.
No.
Yeah, oh yeah.
What?
$80 to $100
I need to
US.
get a
that was
time machine
the
Time
lowest
and go back.
of the low. That was also when you could buy Kobe autos for like $100.
No.
Yeah.
Time machine.
So
Times have changed.
You know what? I remember those days.
Kobe autos.
The way
They were so
Kobe,
cheap.
when he was an exclusive with Panini, the way he was coming out of Panini products, and you could
Yeah.
get his Panini stuff for
he signed
100,
everything.
120.
Yeah.
Oh, those were the days.
But they have, we'll get back to the story, but Kobe autos have dried up really. Everyone is just holding it. Again, and I told rightfully so. If I had one, I would too.
Hold it.
Just hold it. It's a keepsake that you should have
Yeah.
forever. He's
Absolutely.
If you're a basketball collector or a sports card collector in general, Kobe is a guy that's got to be in your collection.
Right.
But yeah, going back to the story is we just kept it for a while, and Luka just kept exploding. His prices were just going nuts. So we it got to the point where it was like a $3,500 card. So I'm like, all right, Tom, I admit defeat. You were right.
You were right,
This card is
Tom.
awesome. So we ended up putting it in our VIP product. It was I think at the time it was like right around a $900 box. So that was us first starting VIP. I think it was the first series. It might have been the second series. And someone bought it and just kept it.
Yeah.
3 months later, they found us at a show. They graded it. Came back up, I think it was a PSA 9 or BGS 9, but it graded a 9. And someone sold it for $14,000.
Oh my.
Weird.
I go,
Somebody
you
got
know
a
what?
9 and sold it for 4. Weird that someone gets a 9 and it goes for
Yep.
that much.
Wait.
Again, COVID pricing.
You
but
should talk your Tyreek card.
Which
Sold
one?
in our live lounge.
Oh,
you talking about?
Tua.
The Tua.
The Tua. Yo,
Do you
so
remember
there was,
that?
What, the
so
gold?
You guys know
Out
that
of
I
town?
like to sneak into the lounges here.
Yes.
and there.
Oh, I'm well aware. I'm there.
So I remember
I live it.
we were opening.
she sneaks around a lot.
We were opening a box,
does.
and I was like, "Oh, what's this?" Like it was a hobby box. I'm like, "Oh, it's Tua." Oh. And it was 2 out of 10. It was a
Gold Prism rookie auto.
Oh, man.
And I was
She
like,
hit it.
Oh, nice. And like at the time, there was one that sold for like 13,000,
Yep.
and now it's like I think 30
nuts.
something.
Yeah, it's probably
So
nutty
that's
now.
probably the biggest. Yeah, that's
Yeah.
probably the biggest card that's been pulled at DA. And I remember I was like, Tua.
Say the biggest card that's been pulled
Hey,
it.
we don't like, get this away. Not no one T. Sleep. Sleep. Penny.
No one to
Penny sleep.
Looking at the time here, a few more minutes with you, but one of the last things I had, and then I don't know if they had anything else for you, but on the topic of watching customers, people opening up the stuff and getting these hits that you remember, So what does that feel like for you when maybe you either watch a breaker or you're live at a show and somebody's opening up product that you've helped build and they hit these big run hits and they have these reactions right in front of you.
Yeah, it's awesome. I absolutely love it when seeing anybody open, especially like if you have a younger collector and he's like we had a kid yesterday who he's a Pokemon collector and he opened up a Charizard box that we have and just had hit like one of the product hits and he just went nuts.
Yeah.
It just gives you that feeling it's just so cool. But one thing that I love about what you said, just kind of watching people break our product, is companies around the world pay so much money for customer feedback, and I get it for free.
Right.
I just go on YouTube, go on Twitch, go on any of the channels and kind of watch people break our product, and you can see the whole chat's reaction, the breakers' reaction. And I remember, obviously this is kind of going back a while, but I remember when like Damian Lillard used to be a very cheap autograph.
Yeah.
Really cheap autograph.
Oh, yeah.
Like $30 US cheap.
That's crazy.
And I remember putting him in a product and somebody got like, not upset, but like
This is
really
garbage.
didn't like that there was
Yeah.
a Damian Lillard autograph in there. So it was like interesting to kind of see, man, like I look at my perspective is this guy is a stud.
Yeah.
But like somebody else's perspective is not that. So you kind of have to like really take your personal bias out of that, and really just like I said, take customer service or customer feedback for what it is. You need it because you got to be able to separate your personal opinions out of it. So.
Sorry, Ric
hear
Flair's
that.
in the building when you hear all the woos.
Woo! Ric Flair?
So usually if you start it, it just keeps going. So I didn't mean to cut you
Who
off.
is Ric
I
Flair?
just-
No, you're good.
I heard in the distance.
Who is that? I'm kidding.
One of the greatest.
Troy's
of all
gonna,
time.
Troy's gonna walk over
No,
and flare
I know.
chop you.
I might have to. Don't
messed
test
up.
me. Do you guys have anything else for
No,
Tyler?
I think,
Anything you wanted to
Tyler
say?
answered all of my questions, Ray. You have anyone? Anyone in the audience have a question?
Yeah, honestly, you can ask anything. We'll answer.
True.
No
Yeah, so
questions.
what we ate today.
Tyler, why don't you let everybody know, one, the people in the audience and the people at home, what booth you are in this weekend, but where they can find everything, Hit Parade, follow on socials, anything like that.
Yeah, so we're at booth 916, I think. We have a couple different booths, but 916, you'll find us there. So come by. We're buying all weekend. But you can follow us on, everything nowadays.
Hit Parade
But-
Go ahead,
Collection
Ray.
everywhere
Yeah.
except for Twitter. It's HP Collect. But
Yeah.
everywhere
All
else,
right.
it's Hit Parade Collection.
Let Ray do the little plug there. So
Got it.
All right, there's that. Elena, for the folks in the crowd and the folks watching at home, maybe first-time chatters or first-time watchers here, where can they follow us and where can they catch the chase
The
normally?
Chang.
The
The
Chase.
Chang.
The Chase is on Monday, Wednesday, and Friday on twitch.tv/DA Car World at 11 a.m. Eastern Standard Time with your host, Troy LaCastro, and your co-host, David Younger, and your third voice, Elena Jonathan, which is me. Who? I am DA_NFL Gremlin on all the socials.
Bo, get out.
I know. Bo's
in here
Bo
chirping.
Jackson's in the chat. Just.
What's he saying?
Out, Bo.
There's
Yeah.
a crowd? Question mark, exclamation mark, question mark, exclamation
Bo,
mark.
there's like 10,000
You
people
would
out
think
here.
somebody in his position would be like rah rah instead of trying to
Just beat us. Just
break
get some more
us,
subs,
break us
Bo.
down. You can't break us down. We're riding the high of the Toronto Sport Card Expo
Absolutely.
for sure.
He said,
so,
turn the camera around. Not our cameras, Bo.
enough. That's enough. All right. I think that's our cue, right?
Where can the
I
people
do want
follow
to
you?
add, though.
Where can people follow me if you want? I try to do as much hobby content as I can. DA_casual Troy. Also, we are on Fanatics Live now. We're breaking there Monday through Fridays. Come catch me on there, 1 p.m. Eastern. I know it's during the middle of the workday, but hey, if you're work from home or you just don't want to do work,
Or if you
I'm
don't
always
work.
there for a distraction.
we're here for that.
We're here for. We're all here for that. So.
I do want to add before we go.
What?
What's up?
Stay tuned next week
Why?
for a massive Hit Parade anniversary announcement.
Huge.
True.
This is big time, baby.
Hit Parade
We're back.
anniv-
We're better than ever. Biggest sale. Like this is gonna be insane. The idea, the pitch, the whole thing, all came together to be the coolest thing I think Hit Parade's done.
I feel like
since birth.
you could do better
Birth.
than what you just did.
Huh?
Hey,
we
we're
need more
slashing
excitement.
prices. I
We need
like
more
the crate.
excitement.
Yeah, get
Y'all
up.
have no idea what Hit
Yeah,
Parade's
yeah.
doing.
Yeah.
Next week,
Yeah.
Wednesday.
There it is.
Shout out to Bo for gifting subs in the chat.
Shout out for Bo. So yeah, make sure you're checking us out.
I'm out.
Twitch.tv/DA Car World.
Mic drop.
Mic drop. She's out of here.
She's gone.
We're going to be out of here in a second. Elena, how do we usually take this thing out? Can you help us? Do you know the?
I don't.
Do you know the thing?
Oh,
I
come
don't.
on.
Oh, well.
So
You got to
un-
throw the news cards.
Until
yes,
Monday.
see, you know. So until
that.
next time,
Just
remember, it's all about the chase. Later, y'all.
Top chat.
Thanks, everybody.